Now, I love stories like this. I'm I'm addicted to it, really, social history, to be honest. I mean, history's great. I mean, it's wonderful. But when it's history of where you live or your town, your city or your industry, the way people interacted, the way we lived, the way we got through our days, I'm always fascinated by that. And to have it documented is really important too. From a young age, Phil Maxwell became fascinated by photography. He's had an extensive career, taking photos all over the world, labelling his camera his notebook, his artistic mentor and friend, of course. In the 1970s, he chose our city, he chose Liverpool as his subject. And he produced a vast array of evocative work, really, focusing on the city, its people, and just kind of capturing the moods of that era. Smithdown and Picton Place, St John's Market, Lodge Lane, Kensington, Liverpool 8 Toxteth, providing some of the city's scenery as well. Phil's work is on exhibition, it's on display. I'll let you, and it's free as well. So at the end of our chat, I'll let you know how you can get that. Have Camera Will Travel. Even as I'm telling everybody about it, you're snapping away, Phil. Right? You're taking pictures. Welcome. Good to see you.
Great to be here.
Yeah, that's it. You don't go anywhere without your camera, do you?
No, it's, as you said, it's my notebook, and you never know what's going to happen. When I was coming down on the 79 bus today, I was looking out the window and just thinking, I could just travel on this bus all day, taking pictures from the bus, because it's such a fascinating city. And I'm in the fortunate position of having photographed it since 1972.
Wow.
And it does change, but it also has, its permanent characteristics, which I love. And I love the people, of course, and people are often my subject. So whenever I go out, when I'm not on the bus, it's quite exciting because the street for me is a theatre.
Well, I'm so glad you said that, because we had the snow recently, didn't we?
We did.
And it was lovely snow scenes in Sefton Park.
And
kids playing in the snow, which is lovely. I mean, that's great. Yeah. But sometimes the mundane can be so attractive. Sometimes the mundane can be so interesting. Somebody somebody eating a pie at a bus stop in the street. Or somebody, fixing, tying their lace in the street. Do you know what I mean? Real life, that snapshot of real life. Is that what attracts you?
Well, you've just drawn attention to, I suppose, my fascination with photography, because all around us, every day, every minute, there's something visually interesting to note. And I think as a street photographer, you're recording that history and you're recording change. But what I notice is that, in fact, wherever I go in the world, people are the same all over. And it's interesting in Liverpool in particular. I can be walking around and taking photos, and then when I look at what I've done, I think, I'm sure I photographed that person 30 years ago, but of course I didn't.
Yeah, of course.
But some people who've seen my photographs published on the internet have contacted me, so I've been able to send them prints. And there was one lad whose photograph I took probably about 1974, 75, down in the Dingle, and the Anglican Cathedral was in the background. Yeah. And he contacted me saying that was the only photograph he had from his childhood days, because, back in the 70s, a lot of people didn't have cameras.
That's right.
And, a lot of people I've photographed who are no longer here, unfortunately, their relatives contact me and say, I saw my dad selling newspapers, when they did sell newspapers on the streets.
Yeah.
I'm so pleased I've seen this photograph.
And there he is in the background, or I'm in the background of that. But you're so right in what you say, because I've got very, very few pictures of my dad. Yeah. Because of the era, and you had to take a picture, then you took it to the chemist, then you got it developed, and it was quite expensive to do that at the time. Yeah. But my kids have got way too many pictures of me, probably thousands of, pictures of me, and that's the difference, isn't it? That snapshot in time. And I've been looking at your pictures just before you came in, and I look at these kids in the street who are climbing on climbing frames in a playground, or leaning against a fence, or someone who's on a chopper bike or whatever. Yeah. And I always think, Where are they now? What did they become?
Yeah.
Have they got their own kids?
Yeah.
Are they photographers?
Yeah.
You just don't know, do you?
No, you don't. And fortunately, because I was here from 1972 to 1982, then I left Liverpool and I came back to Liverpool about 10 years ago. I taught, and I was always taking pictures of the kids in school and everything.
Yeah.
And so some of those kids got back in touch with me, and some of them have done very, very well. And so it was great to think that they were reminded of their school days. I'm not sure whether they were happy with me particularly, but they've got a permanent record. And the school I did teach in, actually, is no longer there.
Which one was it?
It was St Michael's in Mill Road.
St. Mick's.
St. Mick's, yeah. Did you go there?
No, I just know the schools. St.
No,
Mick's.
it's
Because everybody called it St. Mick's.
They did, yeah.
Of course they did.
But it's no longer there, unfortunately. So it becomes even more of an important historical record. And I think all around the world, people are taking photographs, and they are a valuable resource for us to see how people lived at that particular point in time.
It is, because the subject matter of the picture is great, but I always tend to look at what's happening in the background. Is that the 79 bus?
Yeah.
Was there somebody selling the Echo? I remember that guy. Yeah. Little things.
Absolutely.
Well, there's Williamson Square with a load of taxis in it. What's going on there? Little things in the background can be just as interesting as the subject matter, I think.
And if you look on social media in about Liverpool, you'll just find so many photographs of old Liverpool.
Yeah.
And so many people look at these sites because I think there's a particular sense of nostalgia amongst Scousers.
Yeah, there is.
And that they love it. I love it. And it's fascinating how photography evokes memory, and it's a very pleasurable thing to
It
look
is,
at a photograph.
and I think, I'm not a psychologist, but I think with nostalgia, it's a safe place, isn't it?
Yeah.
But we tend to cherry pick nostalgia.
Yeah.
Because when you were taking those pictures in the early 70s, in those particular areas of the city, quite poverty-stricken parts of the city, but we tend to cherry pick the nostalgia bit. Everyone says 70s were fantastic.
Yeah.
Parts of the 70s. But other parts of the 70s, it was a terrible place to be.
It was. And remember, going back to my teaching days, some of the kids were, very poor. I'm sure there are lots of poor kids around today.
Yeah.
And, but to capture them on film and have that as a permanent record of their childhood, I think it's a good thing. And when I do go around the world and I'm photographing in different places, I might be taking a picture, I don't know, wherever, in India or Bangladesh. And when I look at the results, I think, oh, that looks just like a photograph I took back in, 1980 or whatever, in a certain place in the UK.
Do you find, you mentioned something before that I think you said to me, people are people. Yeah. It doesn't matter where you are. You might be in Bangladesh or you might be in Broad Green.
Exactly.
People are people. We have the same worries about jobs. We have the same worries about family, about what the future holds. And do you find that genuinely people are people when you travel?
Yeah, and people also have different attitudes towards the camera. In Thailand, for instance, they love having their picture taken. I think when I was there last time, I think the king, who was the king then, he was a very keen photographer. So everybody seemed to love having their photograph taken.
I was going to say you took a picture of the king then.
No, I didn't. I thought
you were going to go down that route there for a second.
The king probably wouldn't have been as interesting as us.
Something that's always fascinated me as well is, can you just take pictures of people in the street? And you mentioned before you took pictures of the kids in school, which is great. That's a great memento for them. You couldn't take pictures of kids in school now without this form, that form. And I understand the reasons why.
Yeah, without parental permission. Yeah.
Exactly. I understand the reasons why. But that must be inhibiting in some kind of way.
It can be. And I think as a street photographer, I mean, when in the 70s, as I was walking around or on my bike, as it happens, and I had a big kind of SLR camera around my neck. It was a bit obvious. Kids would stop you and say, take our photo. They would just want you to take. You couldn't walk past them without taking a photograph.
Take our picture, mate.
That's it. Yeah,
all of that.
And it would never happen today. Well, you don't get as many kids playing on the street. They're all indoors, probably on their computers or whatever. And you have to be careful. I mean, street photography is as old as photography itself, and its whole value is to do with having a candid shot where people are unaware. So you get a very natural kind of setting in the photograph. Then you have a responsibility as the photographer to, edit those photographs, and the photographs you publish on the internet or whatever, you've got to make sure that nobody's being demeaned or looks stupid or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a responsibility.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Do you like being photographed?
Not really.
Why? Why not? Because why not?
Well, I'm very shy when it comes to the camera, believe it or not. I prefer to be taking the pictures, not having my picture taken.
All right. I was going to take your picture, but if you don't
No, you please do.
It's hard, isn't it? You know, the hundreds of thousands of pictures you've taken just to finish. What's the one you look at and you think, I'm really proud of that? The Liverpool one.
Well, there are various landmarks in the city, and when I was in the 70s taking pictures down in the Toxteth area, often I would frame it with one of those landmarks, in particular the old Anglican cathedral, which was in those days still being built. And there was a vast space around the cathedral, and you had Kent Gardens and all the rest of it. So I suppose,
rows of terraced houses.
Yeah, that's right. So some of the photographs I took of kids around there, I suppose I feel very proud and nostalgic towards those, because those blocks that were around the cathedral have all disappeared, and all that's left is the photographs, really.
Yeah.
So, I feel proud of that I've managed to record the essence of the city at a particular time.
Well, thanks very much indeed for doing it, because if you hadn't have done it, we wouldn't have these little moments in time. We're out of time. How can we get the tickets to see this? Because it's free, isn't it? Your exhibition is free.
All you have to do, look on Eventbrite, or, use your search engine, look for Phil Maxwell. I'm also on Instagram, and also I've got a blog, philmaxwell.org. Just look for it, and the invitation to come to the exhibition is on Eventbrite. You get tickets, and that will tell you exactly where it is. It's in Wavertree.
All right. Real pleasure to meet you.
It's great to meet you.
Thanks very much indeed for coming to our city all those years ago, and you stayed for a little while as well, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I've come back now. I'm here permanently.
Oh, are you? We can't get rid of you, can we?
No, not really.
No, that's it. Take care, mate.
Cheers. Thanks very much.